Okay, digital transformation is accelerating, but how ready are people for this new digital first world? Where are the biggest digital skills gaps and how do we close them? To discuss this, I'm joined today by Kris Lande, who is the Senior Vice President at Salesforce. Welcome, Kris.
Thank you, Bernard. Thank you for having me.
No, it's so good to have you on. So Salesforce has just produced its Global Digital Skills Index, a survey of more than 23,000 people across 19 countries that examined how prepared people feel to operate in this digital first world and now and over the next 5 years. So this is super exciting. Maybe before we go into the findings of the report and some of the recommendations, maybe you can share with us a little bit about what you do at Salesforce and what you focus on in your role.
Sure. Yes, and in my role at Salesforce, I am really focused on building our community and also building our ecosystem and helping anyone find an amazing job in the Salesforce ecosystem and find that amazing job in tech, which is why I feel this digital skills gap and what this study really dealt with is just so relevant and so pivotal to everything that people are feeling today. Because in my role, I really focus on helping people find that breakthrough in technology and find that next great job or career in technology.
Great. So what do you think is driving this digital skills gap that we are seeing today?
Well, the digital skills gap is something that's been around for years. I know this is something that you've covered recently. I know you've covered in the past. This trend has been along for a very long time. We've been talking about the digital skills gap where companies are innovating so quickly and technology is changing so quickly that it's hard to find the skilled talent. And companies and businesses have had a hard time finding that skilled talent as they continually innovate. And I think what's really relevant is over the last 2 years, when COVID hit, this was just exacerbated. As businesses had to go digital overnight, as all of us back in March, April, were suddenly working out of our homes, we didn't have our offices anymore. We suddenly had to figure out how to do that digital transformation that maybe we had been planning for years, but suddenly in 2020 we had to do that overnight. It was not a transformation we could take our time on. It became a digital imperative. And when that imperative came, businesses needed that skilled talent to help them go digital. And I think what this study that we recently did really revealed is that it's not just a skills gap that companies are feeling. This is a global skills crisis because not only are the companies having a hard time finding that skilled talent, but also overall in the workforce, people do not feel ready for this future of work. They don't feel ready for these digital skills. And in general, they don't know where to go to learn these new skills, even if they want to. And that's why I think when we got the results of the study, it really hit me. It is not just a skills gap; it is a skills crisis that we are in.
Okay, and what from the report and from your findings, then what does it mean if we don't manage to close this or address this skills crisis, as you call it?
Well, I think that where the opportunity is the workforce. They may not feel like the study that we did. Over 76% of the respondents felt that they weren't ready to operate in a digital first world, and they didn't feel like they had those skills that businesses need, those digital skills. And overall, they didn't know where to find it. And this is at a time where college enrollment has gone down almost 5% over the last 2 years. And so people don't know where to go to find these new digital skills. And quite frankly, these are skills that aren't being taught in traditional education. This isn't, some of the skills are evolving so quick and companies are innovating so quickly that traditional education can't keep up. So I think the opportunity here is that as businesses, we really have a pivotal role to play in closing the skills gap. We need to bring the workforce along for the ride. We
Mm.
need to help them learn these new skills. We need to give them the opportunities to learn those new skills because they aren't being taught in traditional education. So I
Mm.
think that's where the big opportunity is. It is with businesses, it is with corporations that are creating this new technology to create the pathways for people to learn those new technology and get those new great skills and get those new great careers, those digital first careers.
No, I completely agree. I'm hugely frustrated by the fact that traditional education settings, be this in school or universities, are not really addressing many of the innovative technologies that organizations will rely on very soon to do business. From your report, then, have you identified any specific skill gaps, any specific skills that are in particular demand going forward?
Yeah, so a lot of the skills that were cited in the report are things like cybersecurity, collaboration skills, data analyst skills. These were no surprise as we're, even just kind of looking at my own role and how it's evolved. Data has become so much more important over the last few years. Collaboration, this was something that happened overnight. When we were all suddenly working from our homes, we're not able to turn around and see someone sitting in the desk next to us. We had to learn collaboration. We had to learn how to collaborate virtually, whether
Mm.
that is on a video call like you and I are right now, or using collaboration tools like Slack. It is a whole different way to work. And
Mm.
this is something, it's I think it's relevant for all of us. Back in 2020, my elderly father, he's 75. And in April, he called me in April 2020, and he's like, hey, I need to learn how to use something called Zoom. Can you help me? And it's something as simple as that. Like, we all had to learn how to collaborate in a whole
Mm.
new way. Even my 75-year-old dad had to learn how to use Zoom, and that was a brand new skill for him that he didn't know. So it's skills across the board, whether that is deep technology skills like AI or cybersecurity, or collaboration skills like using Zoom or using Slack.
Absolutely. So this whole new hybrid and remote work scenario, I guess, is accelerating this demand for new skills, and it
Mhm.
is exposing this skills gap even more, right?
Definitely, definitely. And like you said, these are the kind of skills that aren't taught in traditional education. I don't know who would have taught my dad how to use Zoom had he not called me. These are the skills that people know they don't have them, but they don't quite know where to turn to learn those skills. And I think that, again, that is where businesses can play a pivotal role in helping people learn these skills and close that skills gap.
Yeah, I'm excited. All the skills you've mentioned, I'm in my forthcoming books. I'm just finishing a new book called Future Skills, and the reason I was writing that book is to focus on some of the skills that are not being taught in school. And there are digital skills, there are data literacy, there are collaboration
Mhm.
skills. All the things you've just mentioned are vitally important. Cybersecurity awareness in people. So I feel I feel good that you mentioned some of those skills,
I'm
but I
preaching
also
to the choir here.
yeah, exactly. So you said that organizations have a role to play in helping this because traditional universities and schools are maybe not addressing this. How is Salesforce, for example, working to bridge this digital skills gap?
At Salesforce, we've really made it our mission to create pathways for people to learn these new skills because we are constantly innovating. We are on the forefront of creating that new technology. We are bringing AI into our CRM systems. We are bringing digital processes into our CRM systems. However, our customers, they need people who know that technology. And so we've really made it our mission to not only create that technology, but to create pathways for people to learn it. So we have multiple programs across Salesforce. We have programs that really scale. We have our Trailhead learning platform where anybody can learn these skills for free at a self-paced, self-learning model. So we have on that end of the spectrum the high scale learn for free, but we also have more of the high touch programs as well. We have programs that are you can join a class. We have a program called Pathfinder where people can join a 3-month class and really go deep and learn Salesforce skills. At the end of 3 months, be able to be qualified to have a great job in tech. So across the board, we also have an amazing community where people can learn with their peers as well. So we have millions of Trailblazers, or what we call them. We have an identity for people in our community who are learning Salesforce, innovating, building their careers. We have an amazing Trailblazer community where people are helping each other do this. And this is really core to Salesforce's mission, because we know like we can innovate as fast as we can make great new technology, but we need to bring the workforce along for that ride. We need to bring everyone along and pave those pathways for them to learn that new technology and get one of those great new jobs in the Salesforce ecosystem.
Absolutely. And I guess in the future, it would be so much more important to just have these little micro courses where people can learn little
Yes,
things in snack-sized courses, so they can keep up continuously. I think this
exactly.
ability to continuously learn is such an important skill going forward for anyone. And unfortunately, our education system is still the wrong way around. It's all preloaded, and then they don't really acknowledge that 2 years later, half the skills you've learned will be out of date because new technology has come along.
Exactly. And that's exactly, I mentioned our learning platform Trailhead. That is exactly why we created Trailhead. We made it so you can learn for free. So you don't have to have a tech background to get started and learn our technology. You can get started for free. We are open to everyone of all backgrounds, no matter what your location is, no matter what your race is, your socioeconomic status. Anybody can get started and learn for free on Trailhead. And just like you said, it's microlearning, because we know that not everyone can take a week, 2 weeks, a year off to learn a new skill. We wanted that microlearning so people can learn after their day job, maybe when they're during their commute or they're at their child's soccer game. They're able to take that time and learn kind of in those micro learning moments, because that's how people want to learn today. And that's what we've seen in the trends. We've seen that college enrollment is going down 5% year over year, which is just astounding. People want these new ways to learn that they can do on their own time. And that's exactly what we wanted to do when we created Trailhead, to help people learn those new skills and do it on their own time.
Great. So what trends have you seen on Trailhead and your Trailblazer community since the pandemic?
It's a great question, because, immediately when COVID hit in 2020, we saw our Trailhead signups just went through the roof. It increased nearly 40%
Hmm.
month over month, and we saw people, and I think we saw this all around us, where people who were maybe in the hospitality business, they worked at a restaurant, suddenly they were out of a job. They didn't, and maybe they had done that their whole life. And so it wasn't just that they wanted to learn a new skill, they needed to learn a new skill and get a job that was going to be more or less pandemic proof. And so we saw signups on Trailhead increase nearly 40%. We now have nearly 4 million learners on Trailhead, which is just amazing. And when we surveyed all of our Trailblazers who are learning on Trailhead last year, we found that 1 in 3 said that they found a new job because of Trailhead, which is just phenomenal. So they are learning these skills, they are earning these credentials on Trailhead, and they're also getting connected to new job opportunity.
Hmm.
So we've definitely seen that kind of the signups. We've seen engagement go up over the last 2 years during the pandemic, because this is the kind of learning that people are searching for.
So it's facilitating the great resignation and giving people the opportunity to find the jobs they actually want.
Exactly. And it's not just the great resignation, it's also people who maybe didn't have a choice. Maybe we have Trailblazers. A story I'd love to share is Tony Wynn, a Trailblazer who last year he worked, or in 2020 he worked at a sandwich shop. And that sandwich shop, like many other sandwich shops across the nation and across the world, closed down during the pandemic. He suddenly was without an income. And so he found Trailhead, he found Salesforce, he taught himself those skills. And fast forward 6 months from then, he got a job as a Salesforce administrator, making 3 times as much money as he was making at the sandwich shop. He has a whole new career now. And that is just, and so it's not just people who are kind of wanting to do something else, it's people who, because of the pandemic, they needed to find another course, they needed to find something else to do with their career. And we're just so proud that we've been able to be that platform for people to learn those new skills and be part of the Salesforce ecosystem, which is an ecosystem that you can learn with and grow with and have a career with for life.
That's great. So what advice do you have for people who are looking to make a career transition then into the tech industry?
A great place to start is starting with Trailhead and our Trailblazer community. We have an entire community just full of people who are here to help. They want to learn together. They want to help each other. And a lot of people who have been given so much by learning Salesforce skills that they want to give back. And so whenever people ask me, where do I get started? Go to trailhead.com and get started. Trailhead is really the starting point. We named it to be that starting point for learning these Salesforce skills. And you have an entire community to help you learn along the way. And it's a great place to get started. You don't need to have any tech background. And that's really the beauty about our technology, about Salesforce technology, is that is an easy platform to learn. You don't have to have any tech background to learn this technology and get a great job in tech.
Very good. Then looking ahead maybe over the next 5 years, how do you see this whole area of the digital skills gap evolving?
I think that's, it's actually the beauty of it is that we don't know. These skills, like you mentioned earlier, these skills are turning over so quickly, and the skills that we're going to be using in 5 years in our role may not even exist. Today I have so many friends that are working in AI. 5 years ago, that was not the case. I had no friends working in AI. And so 5 years from now, those skills might be completely different and those innovations might be completely different than we're seeing right now. 5 years from now, we might be developing skills to work in the metaverse, to work in this next evolution of where technology is going. And we at Salesforce really want to make sure that we are bringing people along for that ride, where that technology goes. Because as you mentioned earlier, it's really hard for traditional education to keep up with all of these changes. The skills are changing so quickly, and that's why as businesses, we do need to pave those paths to help people get those new great skills, because they are changing so quickly, and we are the ones who are innovating and creating that technology. And so we need to bring people along for the ride. And so I mean, what's exciting is that we don't know where it's going to be in 5 years, but we know that we are going to create the way for people to come along on that journey and have those skills of the future.
So how often do you create new content for the platform, and how do you decide what content to create?
We are creating content constantly. So we actually do releases nearly every 2 weeks. And this is not just, making sure that everything is up to date with our Salesforce skills, but as new skills come out, we have skills to learn blockchain, or we have ways to learn AWS. As the new skills are coming out, and we're hearing from our people in our community, we want to learn how to use Google Analytics. We want to learn how to be data analysts. We want to learn cybersecurity skills. We bring all of those skills to Trailhead. And also, as Salesforce is evolving, we rolled out AI in our CRM system about 4 or 5 years ago. And immediately we wanted to make those skills available to learn on Trailhead, because if the technology is there, we need people who know that technology, who can help our customers harness that technology and bring them into the future. And so we make sure that we have those skills available to learn as soon as we are building the technology, because what is the good of technology if we don't have the folks who know how to use it and know how to use that technology and bring our customers into the future with it?
Very good. So to finish off then, what would be your prediction of the let's say top 5 skills that we will need in 5 years' time?
It's a really great question. I think, when I look across what we're doing, I think data is so important. And, you mentioned this a little bit earlier as well. I think the way that we are using data, the way that we are personalizing, I have a marketing team, and the way that we are thinking about marketing is completely different than we were thinking about it 5 years ago. We are now thinking about how we deeply personalize marketing, how we make it relevant for people. It's not just sending out an email blast to a couple 100,000 people. It is bringing people on a tailored journey based off of the data that we know about them, so it's relevant for them. I think that will continue to be a key skill to learn. And I mentioned metaverse earlier. I think that is going to, as we're all kind of figuring out what this is, businesses are going to be on the forefront of that. And really, like as technology evolves there, how do we as workers participate in that? And what are the skills that we need to have in that? So yeah, I think those are two things that are really paving the way for how we are going to evolve in this digital first new world.
Very good. Thank you so much. So they are the top ones: data skills, and the metaverse. Then I guess you mentioned others like collaboration skills.
Collaboration skills, cybersecurity is also just huge.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kris. I could talk about this topic forever, but this has been super interesting. And anyone listening in, head to the platform. Where can they find the platform?
So if you want to learn Salesforce skills, you can go to trailhead.com. And one other thing, we also, something we want to inspire people, and we want to let people know that anybody can learn these skills no matter what your background is. We actually have a new series coming out called Trailblazer, which shows these series of people. They're all Black leaders who are learning technology skills. They didn't come from a tech background, but they now have thriving careers in the Salesforce ecosystem, because we really want to show people these inspiring stories of people who have paved their way in technology, who come from non-traditional backgrounds, who don't come from tech backgrounds, and really inspire people. So we have that new series coming out. It comes out actually this week. Called Trailblazers. So you can learn more on Salesforce Plus, which is our streaming system. And so you can go to Trailblazer. You can also go to trailhead.com to start learning.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Bernard.